plan to start Brady, or was that just a short notice thing? Because you guys were warming him up from the first game.
Well, yeah, I mean, it wasn't, but once he was hot,
Yeah.
you know, he was gonna, you know, just with the 10-run situation, with the getaway thing, we just kept him hot because it was a
Yeah.
30-minute intermission. But, you know, again, I look at his stat line, you know, 8 runs and that stuff. We just didn't, you know, help him defensively. I thought he was down in his zone doing his job, but I wouldn't put that on him today. I mean, you know.
Yeah, so yesterday they were, you know, because yesterday obviously it wasn't the getaway day, so they were trying to do 45 in between games. Had you had the 45 minutes, the 15 extra, would you have warmed somebody?
Yeah, I mean, it was a thought. It just, you know, we don't normally play, you know, you don't normally play with a 10-run. And honestly, I didn't even realize, you know, so by walking off the field, it dawned on me that we you know, doing the 10-run thing. But, you know, at that point, we were going to, because we're still trying to get guys innings. That's when you play 4 games early, your whole idea is you're going to break it up. And we had, you know, we were planning on using probably 4 or 5 guys, him included, second game. And at that point, it wasn't necessarily a, you know, who started, but once he was hot, 30-minute intermission. If we didn't start him, we probably wouldn't have been able to use him today. So,
Who would you have started?
I mean, that's still up for, honestly, I mean, this is the last 4 game for us. It was more we were going to break it up, and, you know, Fitzstadler was in there. But I mean, it's not the results you wanted, but it's like we got the guys innings to kind of, because we're competing for that, realistically seeing who's going to do it when the lights are on. So, you know, I thought, you know, but again, I didn't think he was, if we made plays behind, it probably didn't happen that way.
When we talked to Sam Romero last night, he said that Boyd Vanderkoy wouldn't look like a freshman in his first start. Would you reiterate that same message?
Yeah, I mean, Boyd's got a good mentality. He's going to keep you in the game. You know, he's been a part of some successful baseball, and that's the thing that we liked about him, why we felt comfortable putting him as naming him one of our 3 starting guys, simply because of what he's shown up to this point. And, you know, as you know, the early season stuff goes, we're still figuring out who's going to be 1, who's going to be 2, who's going to be 3. And when you go out and you have success and you pitch with good intent and you have something to you, excuse me, chances are, you know, you can find yourself moving up that stuff too, and not just be a Sunday guy.
I was surprised that were you at the defense, your defensive performance?
I mean, you know, I'm sick to my stomach, you know, the way this thing goes, because the defense piece of it we think is going to be a strong piece for us. I mean, Drew Swift is I think he's a game changer defensively at shortstop. You know, I look at it, you know, and he didn't play well, you know, and do I lose confidence in him? Absolutely not, because I've seen enough of it at this point. He is really, really good. He's going to be really good for us. Didn't play well, particularly the second game. I think sometimes a tendency, you know, with younger guys, you know, throwing the ball away there, I think on that slow, you know, just the speed of the game, you know, maybe in high school when you make that play because the guy's not getting down the line, just knowing when to eat it. Sometimes you do too much, try to do too much as a freshman. I think that was clear today. And, you know, but every game that he's out there, he's going to get better. And, you know, I have the utmost confidence in that kid.
So with Jeremy and Carter this weekend, do you feel like they're just adjusting to new positions?
You know, and the shame of it is too, I mean, Aldretti's been playing great, you know, in practice, and, you know, he struggled this weekend. And, but he's a good player. He's, you know, I think he's earned the right to get back out there, because he's going to win us more ball games than what happened this weekend. So that's my biggest disappointment. If I were to sum up my feelings of all of it, it's just like it's hard for me to you know, I'm gonna go home tonight and say, you know, what the hell was that? Because that's not what we've been doing. We've been playing very clean defense. The guys been playing. If I had to say one thing, I'd say it was just we were uptight. The guys trying to do too much. So until we realize the game will let you know, and get your nerves under control. You know, I think the result is that when you try to do too much or you press in this game, it'll eat you alive. And not only did we do it defensively, we did it offensively. And, you know, it just kind of is a role, you know, to me it's a little bit of a role reversal. We're drawing this up. We expect our veterans to play like veterans, and this weekend it didn't happen. But, you know, I'm not, it gives you things to work on, and we're still trying to figure a couple positions out, as you probably saw, but, you know, I'm not giving up on this group any way, shape, or form, because it's there. It's just putting that right combo and getting those guys comfortable, settle down, do what you've done your entire time, and play the game of baseball.
And to that point, like you say, you expect your veterans to play well. I mean, looking at your lineups, you've had mostly underclassmen inserted in there.
Yeah, our
So-
veterans are sophomores,
Right.
I guess.
So have you ever had a roster where you're dealing with mostly inexperience like that?
Well, maybe not to the extent of this, but I think these guys, once we're going to settle in, and I think the talent level, you know, and that's going to be the message when we talk to them. I mean, it's that combination between talent and just finding a way to get it done. I thought Miami of Ohio, you know, and credit to them, I thought they outplayed us defensively. Their shortstop made every play, made fantastic plays. I thought their pitchers pitched aggressively all weekend, and I thought they were grinding out some ABs, you know, and ran the bases better. So, you know, you look at that, they're a little bit older. Experience helps, but, you know, I've never put a qualifier on if you can't be good if you're a freshman. If you're good, you're good. Now, I have realized, and I think I've even said it to you guys, I'm excited about this team. I am. And I'm fully confident in this team. And I said we're probably going to go through some growing pains a little bit early, to be expected when you're running out 4 or 5 freshmen and do things that you just kind of scratch your head. But if we learn from those things, that's the key for me. Yeah.
Oh,
No, I said that's what we're looking for. Is you want the wins, but to me we got to get better, because it's in there. It's just a matter of getting these guys to settle down and play like they can play.
Kind of looking ahead, obviously it doesn't mean anything in the standings, but what can playing the Diamondbacks do for any collegiate team, and especially this group experience-wise?
Well, you know, I mean, I probably should. Not a lot, because we're a little, you know, we're not going to play certain guys because of just some of the depth of position. So we're looking at that game, honestly, more for getting some of our reserves some action. I think it'll be good for them to let them, you know, get a little bit of comfort with a level of getting out on the field. But as far as like the guys that started, you know, you're not going to see those guys play much, because this is my one issue sometimes with playing an exhibition game in the middle of the season. Is it's cool, it's nice, it's good for the kids, but from an injury standpoint, you know, we don't want to lose somebody to a game that really doesn't matter. But we're going to put the guys in there, so a lot of the second stringers, and we're going to try to win the baseball game. I think what's going to come out of that is some of those guys are going to get experience, and we're looking at it from a coaching staff. That's another opportunity. So if you are somebody that maybe at this point is buried or on the bench, or maybe looking as a tail end, and you come in and do the job, obviously that's going to get our attention. But we're not going to run our starting lineup out there and say, hey, let's go build some momentum on the Diamondbacks. That's just not. I just don't think it's real smart on our part if we do that. Lyle just caught, you know, 4 baseball games in a row. I think we're going to take the opportunity to get somebody else in there, Luke, and let him cut his teeth a little bit in a situation with a little bit less pressure.
in that first game, did you pull Alika because of the base running piece, or was there something else overall?
Well, the game moved too fast. You know, it goes back to that. Just the types of mistakes. He's a good player, but and you know, I go back to the disappointment was for him that he just that everything. And it was like that was kind of like the big indicator that, man, this is moving too quickly. He just needs to sit down, take a look, slow it down, take a deep breath, because yeah, it was like that was, you know, something shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
And you know, he'd already done a couple things that were, okay, man, let's work through it. But then when that happened, it was like, wait a minute, all right, come here, slow it down. So that's why. But he's going to be a good player for us and be back in there because he's been really, really, you know, consistent for us. And but I've said it. I keep going back. I've said it. I've been cautiously optimistic because I want to see when the lights are on. And I think you saw that. Guys play with some nerves that they haven't played with nerves before.
Yeah, I think a couple of bunts by Miami, you guys kind of like didn't move to position fast enough. Was there a reason for that?
Well, that's a good question. No, that's gonna, you know, that'll be addressed because it was exactly the same play, and that's what I go back and look. I can't remember which one of you, but you know, what we look for is, are you learning from your mistakes? But when you do it twice in a row, that's not a real good indicator that you're learning from your mistakes. So you know, that's something that will be addressed. You know, and there is no excuse for that. Quite frankly, there's no excuse for that.
And with all the circumstances back end of a doubleheader of, you know, 2 doubleheaders really in a Sunday game when you give up 8 runs in the second inning, how easy is it, especially for young guys, to check out of the game then? Did you see that?
Yeah, well, no, I mean, you know, I said, I knew I'd be coming in here in front of the gauntlet of that, you know, of the questions. I said, okay, give me a positive, you know, tell me something positive about this. And I think one of the positives for me is we kept swinging, you know, we kept battling. It's just we never shut it off, and defensively it let us down. You know, pitching wise was just okay. But if we make plays behind them, it's a different ball game. But what I did like, I don't think we shut it down. I think guys kept coming, kept trying to throw good ABs together. So from that standpoint, you know, I was pleased. I've said it, you know, to this group on multiple occasions. You know, hey, the vibe's great, everything's good, the clubhouse, the love, and all that. But what's going to be really interesting is when we face adversity. Okay, well here it is, weekend number 1. You know, you split at home. You got embarrassed by a team on your home field opening weekend. So now, how do we respond? I think that's going to tell in the next week or so. You know, how a lot about us and a lot about our team, and a lot about our character.
You talked about positives. Spencer Torkelson, 4 more hits today. What did you like from him today specifically in the weekend as a whole?
Well, I mean, is you know, the at-bats, it's kind of funny because you go back to the lineup piece, it's like when guys are swinging and have good at-bats, and then it I don't want to say forces your hand at a manager, but when you're still looking at a lot of new guys who've never played a college game before, and going into this, you know, the question mark maybe a little bit was his defense, but if you swing the bat like that, and again, I thought he played well defensively, you know, now it forces your hand in some other spots. So he did an excellent job of controlling his at-bats in a very, very mature. I think you got a little glimpse at why we're so high on him. But if he can settle in there at first base, we feel like gives us more options, certainly at the DH position. And, you know, but I loved what I saw out of him. I thought, you know, his at-bats from the start of the weekend to the end of the weekend were the most consistent. He engaged Canning were the most consistent at-bats, mature at-bats that other guys need to learn from and you know, model themselves after. But, you know, one weekend on a positive side or a negative side doesn't make a season. So what we're looking for is just a consistency piece here moving forward.
You talked about guys pressing at the plate last night. Is that more or less what you saw at Hunter this weekend?
Well, yeah. I mean, he's a better hitter than he's showing. And that's a tendency. You know, sometimes we tend to forget, you know, like we joked about it, but, you know, that our veteran guys, our experienced guys, and Hunter didn't even play a full season last year. You know, he was on the bench quite a bit early on for exactly this, pressing. And but there's no doubt he was pressing big time. Anytime you see a guy swinging at, you know, 55-foot pitches or whatever, that's just telling you they're just pressing. They're not seeing the baseball. They're trying to do too much. So for us to be good, we need him to be good, and I think he's going to be good.
Looking at the day as a whole, we kind of see guys like Hoffer and Workman take a little while to get going, but both of them, you know, in the first game and the second game respectively, had pretty good outings today. Do you think it's just a matter of time for some of these young guys to, you know, get their fresh legs out there and get into their groove?
Yeah, I would say from those guys' standpoint, they were probably some of the more consistent performances. You know, I get just coming into this isn't the way we drew it up, that we would be sitting here at this press conference talking about all the freshmen and you know, I know they were going to blend in there, but for us to be good, I'll make no secret about it. Our veterans, our Aldrettis, our Bishops, our Cannings, those guys have to be good for us. You know, we're not going to lean on, or we shouldn't. You know, it's pretty tough to lean on a bunch of freshmen in Pac-12. And if you go back and look at that weekend, we didn't play real well. And we didn't play real well in certain areas that I think we're going to play well in. So in spite of the, you know, the dark cloud of, you know, splitting at home on open weekend, it's in there. It's just now a matter of putting it together and guys playing the way they're capable of playing.